Let's say you're thinking about becoming a manager. Maybe right now you're an individual contributor, you're contemplating it, you want to go for it, and the question is, how do I get from where I am as an individual contributor to manager role? By the end of this video, I'll leave you with 3 strategies and a little bit of research for context to get you to your next manager role. For the best strategies to take your career to the next level, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so that you can be notified when I post new content every week. I'm dellisanti-miller, a full potential realized, and I'm a career transition coach. I worked for about 20 plus years in big corporates in talent management and diversity and inclusion roles, and with my behind the scenes insights, I help women to navigate the system, not as it should be, but just as it is. Because the more we can navigate to senior roles, the more we can have an equitable system that allows all talent to rise. Okay, so let's talk about the research. This is an old study. It's like from the 90s, late 90s. They haven't replicated it. And it's a small sample, and it's not part of a meta-analysis or anything like that. So take it as directional. I am interested in it though because it was based on actual promotions and compares the dynamics by interviewing the promoting managers between what were the reasons given for the women's promotions and the men's promotions. This is not specifically about promotion to manager level or managing people, but I think it does inform that process. And it'll be interesting to see if you feel like these dynamics are still in play or have they evolved. Please let me know in the comments which ones you think have evolved and which ones you think remain the same. In both cases, hiring managers had their main reason as wanting to hire people that they thought would be successful in the role. As a hiring manager, I agree with that. You want to make sure that you hire somebody who's going to be able to do well because you're being evaluated on your hiring decisions, and also you want your team to be successful. So when they compared by interviewing these hiring managers, the reasons why those managers promoted the women versus the men, a lot of things were exactly the same. Among those things were, it's your standard laundry list: skills and abilities, potential for growth, demonstrated ability to develop, ability to work on a team, track record, stuff like that. When they looked at the reasons why they promoted them that were very different for the women and the men, just a couple things popped. The 2 reasons that were given for hiring men very frequently, and either very infrequently or not at all for women, one was comfort and one was availability. So comfort was like, I know the guy, I know his strengths and his weaknesses, I know he'll reliably perform, I know how he'll perform, and I'm comfortable with him. Availability was, here's a talent in the organization that's just been laid off, or maybe he just came back from a transition from an international trip, or one of his business units got shut down and we want to save this person, and so they're available. We want to keep that talent in the company. Those are 2 reasons for promoting uniquely men. What came up for the women much more frequently than the men, one was diversity. The woman was the best person for the role, but there was a strong push for diverse leadership in that organization, and so that helped them make a decision to choose that person. Personal strength was one of the reasons that was cited for hiring women or promoting them. Women who would be willing to take risks, push back on senior leadership when appropriate, and take responsibility. That was something that came up as a character attribute that they looked for in women. Didn't mention it in men. The other reason, and I think the most relevant for this conversation, is continuity. Managers were much more confident hiring women to do something that they had already been doing, or very similar to something that they had already been proven successful being able to do. And this is very much like the research that we've already talked about, where men generally get hired for their potential, whereas women get hired for their performance. I always say, I didn't always say it. When I first got to work, I was like, yeah, no. But I learned to fix the system, you have to be part of the system. So you have to learn how to navigate how the system works now so that we can evolve the system and have it work more equitably. Okay, given that as context, what are my 3 tips for transitioning from an individual contributor role to a manager role? One is, do it in a company where you're already working. Because as a hiring manager, you may hire somebody from the outside who has the same exact qualifications that you're looking for, or you may give somebody a chance from inside your organization who's going to take a stretch or a development role, but you're not going to do both. You're not going to hire somebody from outside the organization that you don't know into a role that they haven't already done. That just doesn't make any sense. Second tip is to talk to your manager as part of your development planning activity. Ask him or her for opportunities to try on managing. Example, can you manage summer interns? Can one person on the team be assigned to report to you so that you can work out the management practices with a low threshold of risk? That's good to do because then your manager sees you in context managing, and then it's a natural next step. If that's not available in your group or with your manager, there's also places in your organization that you can take on a leadership role in leading a team, maybe on a volunteer committee, maybe in a BRG, a business resource group, managing a project, a temporary situation. Third tip is to take on mentoring relationships with more junior people and sponsoring relationships if you can, so that you really understand from the other side of the coin, what does it mean to take care of somebody's development, what are their specific needs, what helps them to progress. And if you can create situations where you have that in different spaces with different genders, different levels, different ages, to have a variety, you can't spread yourself too thin, but to have a variety of perspectives and contexts and what it means and what people need to move forward, I think that'll be also super helpful and something that you can leverage. If you're still trying to determine whether or not you want to choose to take on a management role, I have a freebie for you that can help you get more data about that to help you make your choice. And you can grab that at fullpotentialrealized.com/manager. And it's a set of 20 questions that you can ask other more experienced managers about managing, which will A, give you a better sense of what it's really like day to day, and B, give you a sense of what practices they use that are effective, so that if you do decide to take it on, you'll have a background based on what others have done that have made them successful. For more strategies to take your career to the next level, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Please like this video, give it a comment, share it with your friends, share it on social media if you'd like. Thanks, I look forward to seeing you next time.